podcast. Happy Veterans Day. We are recording this on Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
To all those men and women of the world that have protected our freedoms. You know, cannot go without saying, can never say enough about what they do, you know. It's something that, and we can spend a minute on this, even though people will get this episode a couple of days after Veterans Day. It's something that didn't really occur to me as much when I was younger, how much important this day was. I would watch movies like, Saving Private Ryan and films like that. And back 20 years ago, and I knew how important they were, but I didn't realize, I think until I got much older, how much Veterans Day meant for so many people. And, I knew in my back of my mind that my grandfather was a veteran and people I knew, but I never just occurred to me the importance of it. And I think Saving Private Ryan might be one of those first movies that made me realize the importance of it, as I got older. And then, and I was thinking about today, AMC was doing a all-day Band of Brothers, which is considered one of the greatest television miniseries of all time. And but a lot of war veterans that watched it even said it's the best thing they've ever seen that portrayed what they went through. It's like you watch that stuff now as I've gotten older, you get a little more emotional about it, because you appreciate it so much. And now 20 years past since those movies and Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan, I've come to know a lot more veterans in my life, and my brother-in-law and other people. So I think that it shows the importance of what they do for us, because we wouldn't be here podcasting and doing things like this without our freedoms protected,
That's right, man. We'd be speaking German or worse, or not even exist.
Who knows? Right? I mean, there's the possibilities of what ifs are sometimes endless, but that's right, that is also why you do things like watch films and television shows or read comic books to escape from the realities of the world and what if possibilities. Like the movie we're doing today is very much a what if possibility of totalitarian governments and things like that. And God, man, I will get into it here in a little bit, but I forgot just how damn good this film is too. Remarkably, really fucking good. And it had been a while since I saw it. I'm like, wow, this is I started thinking, why is this movie not talked about more? Because it's really good. But we'll get into that in just a bit, man. But how are you, man? If I cough a lot during today's show, people, I apologize. I've been pretty fucking sick, honestly. And man, maybe I have COVID. I don't know. I don't go test anymore, but I just haven't felt good all fucking week. So if I cough a bit, my apologies.
Man, I'm right there with you, man. I've just been feeling crummy this week. It's the weather changes, everyone in the home's been sick. It's that time of the year where there's a change in the weather and people's immune systems are tested, and it's yay or nay, you just kind of run with it. But other than that, been good. You watched a new movie this week. This movie, it's Jim Caviezel, Sound of Freedom. It was a movie that was kind of touted as like a right-wing movie, but it's really not. It's like it's not really political at all. It's just bringing light to an issue with child trafficking. And it's definitely one of those movies where you watch, and if you're a dad or a mom, it tugs at your biggest fear, losing your kids, possibly having them taken away from you. And it follows a true story of Homeland Security agent Tim Ballard, and kind of touches on his story. It's well shot. It's definitely doesn't look like it was made for $13 million. It's actually pretty good, but I would wait until you could rent it. It's a little steep to buy it for something you're only going to watch once. Cause I'll tell you, it's one of those films you only watch once. Because it's
supposed to be coming. Amazon has the rights to it. It should be on Amazon Prime pretty soon.
Man, it's heavy. It's a heavy film. So if you don't feel anything after you watch that film, it's have yourself tested emotionally for like being a sociopath or something. But it's yeah, man, I bought it, so it's on my Vudu. And then we man, I tried to watch Murder on the Orient Express because you had talked about that threequel, and I got a little tired because I woke up early this morning to do a run, and I got comfortable, and so I fell asleep in the middle of it, and then came back up at the end, and I'm like, man, I feel like this movie is like pretty good, and probably need to watch the whole entirety of it. But it's pretty
It
cool
usually
because
helps.
yeah, Daisy Ridley's in it, Judi Dench, William Dafoe, Johnny Depp. It's fucking packed, man.
Good cast.
Yeah, so I definitely want to work my way through it, so I'm gonna have to watch it again and watch it properly.
That's funny because I started watching the second one, but I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, Gal's in the second one. So
she's looking quite Gal Gadot too.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Gal, man, can't go wrong. But yeah, that's really like the only two things I want to say. God, I think. Oh, I tried to watch that Netflix series that came out, that World War II series, All the Light That We Can Save, with
well, this one Peter Jackson produced.
Yeah, Peter Jackson produced. I watched the first episode, and
it's more like a documentary, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I need to do some more research. I don't know if it's based on a true story, or if it's a documentary, mockumentary. But it's based in World War II, and it's about German soldiers trying to find this blind girl that's reading. She kind of reads over shortwave radio in this Jewish town, and her uncle is having her read certain excerpts so that she can alert the resistance and Allied forces and help drive out the Germans. And the Germans are kind of like on their last leg anyways. They feel like the war is not in their favor, and it's already at that point. And so they're trying to find this girl. But one of the German soldiers is kind of like, questioning authority, questioning himself and the war's motives on the German side. And he kind of just wants to find this girl, I think, because he's interested in her. I think it's 6 episodes. So I've watched the first one and that's it. So, maybe I'll get to the second one. We'll see.
All right. Yeah, man, I actually watched. I actually sat down and I watched, because I watched it with my daughter, to be fair. But I watched the live action Little Mermaid with her.
Oh, wow!
It's actually better than I thought it would be. It's it's well shot, really well done, well acted. It's the story already. I mean, about Ariel wanting to be a human because she falls in love with one, and she gets her voice taken away from her, and she has to get it back. And credit to Halle Berry, I think.
Halle Berry, yeah,
is she's really good in it. And I usually find Melissa McCarthy annoying, but she's fine in what she works with in this. And
she looked like she'd be Ursula.
Yeah, she does a good job. I mean, they add a couple of songs to it, just like did the live action versions of the other Disney films. And this is the first time that I really didn't mind the added songs. I felt they were okay. Like the Beauty and the Beast added songs just were kind of weird and out of place, But these added songs, they were fine. They didn't really take you out of the film, but it was good, man. I actually was a little surprised with myself how much I found myself enjoying it. Thought it was better because I had really not much desire at all to see it, and then she wanted me to watch it with her, and I was like, oh, this is actually really well done. So it's on Disney Plus, so it's easy to watch. So I watched that with her, and it was pretty good. There's a show I've been watching on Netflix also. It's when Netflix a couple of years ago first came out with their Netflix animes, we all kind of rolled our eyes a little bit, and some of them, the Transformers one was okay, the Godzilla one was kind of boring.
Yeah.
But The Bastard remake has been okay, other than there's no nudity in it. They keep teasing you with snakes planted in front of nipples, and it pisses me off. You know, when I watch the Bastard remake,
snake,
because I actually think the Bastard remake is pretty good, except like if you're gonna show it. Don't tease me, damn it.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
Do it or not, you know.
So I've been watching this new one they have called Blue-Eyed Samurai, and man, this is good. And it does not tease you. It shows you everything. Don't let the kids be around when this is on, because it has a very kind of kid-friendly animated look to it, right?
Yeah.
But it's very adult, extremely gory, lots of nudity.
Ninja Scroll stuff.
A very mature story, but a really good story about this female samurai who is going on a quest for revenge. It's basically Kill Bill meets samurais in a lot of ways. In fact, they even used some of the music from the Kill Bill trailer in one scene. I don't know if that was coincidence or what, or a homage to Kill Bill or what it was, but they actually used that in there. And I'm 2 episodes in, and this is not like a 20-minute anime. These are like 45-minute episodes, so it plays out like a real television show. And it's really good so far. There's a big reveal at the end of the first episode where that you find out if you don't read the synopsis of the show, I guess you wouldn't know, but most of us read the synopsis of the shows nowadays. And that's the fact that she is a female. They play it up as a secret throughout the whole first episode. Then you get to the end and they reveal it, and you're kind of like, well, I already knew that because I read the synopsis. I guess that's for the 1 out of 10 people that did not read the synopsis of the show before they watched it, you know? Which was, I thought, kind of strange, like how hard they kept it to be a secret that she was a female. But it's good, man. Yeah, really well written. It's getting really good reviews. I mean, I think it's sitting like in a 9 out of 10 on IMDb, and it's only been out for about a week or so, but it's very well done. But it's called Blue-Eyed Samurai. It's on Netflix now, and so far so good. I'm definitely gonna keep watching it, get into it more. Other than that, I don't think I watched much else this week, other than the movie we covered, and but then again, I feel like there was something else I watched, but maybe I didn't. I do not remember. I'm getting old. I can't remember everything.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no. I sometimes just can't. I can't remember everything. I can't. Damn it! And the kids want you to remember everything. You're like, sorry, I forgot something, child. And you know. I mean, I watched like old stuff, but that's the only new things I really watched, you know. So, but Blue-Eyed Samurai, I highly recommend on Netflix.
I wanted to watch The Fighter. I mean, not The Fighter, The Killer.
Yeah, but it just came out yesterday. I'll watch it. It's Fincher. I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, but I like that I'm seeing a new film from him.
Well, you got to be in the right mind. You got to be like, anytime you're going to watch a Fincher film, you got to kind of be ready for it, because you know you're in for something heavy. You know, you're not going to laugh. You're not going to cry or smile. You got to be kind of ready for something heavy.
7,
adventure.
You know,
I mean, I like almost everything he's done, except I did not like Gone Girl at all. You know, that one I didn't.
Oh yeah.
Most of the time, I like Fincher films.
The women like Gone Girl. The women like Gone Girl.
Yeah, I just
watch it. Watch it, boys.
But I'll watch. I'll get around to watching The Killer. Like I said, it just came out yesterday, so you know, to be fair, it's hard. You know, it's only 24 hours. I think we're given a pass. We haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of cool to see. You know, that we're getting some big directors doing movies for these streaming services. Yeah, that's it, man. That's all I really watched. So I guess that gives us a good time to get in some news. The Hollywood strikes are over. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, man.
Now, it doesn't prevent anything that's already been delayed from being delayed. You know, we already have to wait longer for Mission Impossible, and hopefully we get some news soon about Beyond the Spider-Verse. Is when that trilogy is going to conclude. But there's some news. You know, we're unfortunately, due to the shakeups, we're only going to get one Marvel movie next year, and that'll be Deadpool 3 in July. They went ahead and pushed Captain America: New World Order back to February of next year, of 2025. Some people say that's, believe the rumors, that's due to reshoots that are going to happen because the first test screenings before the supposed first trailer was going to come out did not go well.
I saw that too. Yeah.
And, I never know what to make of those because, those test screenings, here's the thing, people, man, those test screenings are held in such small markets. Like, they'll they'll test screen that film in LA or like some podunk town. It's a small group of people they show them to. They have to sign non-disclosure agreements and stuff. And so it's hard to believe if when word really gets out. Like, did they really test bad?
Yeah.
Like James Wan, he's shot that down before in the Aquaman reshoots. He goes, I don't know where people hear this. No one has really seen our film, and people are saying we tested it terribly. James Wan has shot that down. Now, do you believe the director? Do you believe people? And that's just the confusion of the internet now. Like what is real, what's not. Of course, because you obviously on the flip side, a director like James Wan is going to play up his film. But someone that signed a non-disclosure agreement, are they taking a risk by saying something and they're going to get in trouble? Because you can get in a lot of trouble for that if you're saying something. About it. So so it's hard to say what to believe. I if anything, I would believe the reshoots may tend to be more to get things in line with whatever the hell's going on with Marvel, with Kang and the multiverse and all this, and maybe they just need to make sure these films fit right. It's possible as well. So we'll see. So they push that back, and then what else is coming from Marvel? The Thunderbolts movies pushed back to like 2025 as well, and just a bunch of shakeups coming from Marvel.
Avengers.
But the new Avengers films
and Secret Wars. They had talked about that, and there's a rumor that Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman was supposed to lead Secret Wars.
Yeah,
and I can kind of believe that. I can kind of believe that with them, going back and bringing back legacy characters and extended universe characters. But we'll see if they're ever utilized. That'd be cool if they are. Obviously we're going to get Hugh in Deadpool 3. And there's a rumor that Toby's supposed to make another cameo in Deadpool 3, and we'll see if that stands.
Yeah. But at least at this point, though, we're getting the Hollywood strikes over with, and we're going to get these things continued on and get movies and television back to business.
Yeah.
Going
in the right direction.
It's certainly good news, that we can get things going again and make some good stuff. And James Gunn also announced we're going to move from Marvel to DC, that none of this will affect the reboot of the DC universe. That Superman is still on path 20 months from today, July 11th, 2025 for Superman Legacy. So that's, and he said expect major casting announcements real soon as they hope to start production in February on Superman Legacy. So good news. Hopefully news comes out of that, and the Batman Part 2, hopefully news comes out from that as well. As we start moving forward to get these movies made that we want to see. Speaking of DC, if you have not had a chance yet to see Blue Beetle, you don't have to wait that much longer. This coming Friday, the 17th of November, it'll be on HBO Max.
Nice.
Or Max, whatever it's called. Did you see Blue Beetle?
Yeah, I went. That's what I thought we took. I think
that's right. You were in the theater next to me when I was watching it wide or something.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Blue Beetle, it'll be on Max Friday the 17th. So be down for watching that. This is one of those shows that feels like a long time coming. We finally got a little teaser trailer for the He-Man Revolution season 2 of Kevin Smith's animated series, and that's going to hit in January. I'm excited for that. Really enjoyed those first 10 episodes, and looking forward to that when it hits here in just a few short weeks. And then lastly, we got a couple of trailers this week. I didn't even know they were making this. We got a teaser trailer for Inside Out 2. I had no idea that Pixar was.
Yeah, I didn't know they were making it. I saw that.
They're adding an emotion. They're adding anxiety, which is a big emotion nowadays for people in the world we live in. I felt like Inside Out didn't need a sequel. It tells such a solid beginning to end story, which is kind of sad in some ways. So how do you top that? We'll see. Introducing Anxiety, I wonder if it's going to be a movie that deals with mental health.
Yeah, it's that's a good question. Where do they go with it? And is it a story that needed to be elaborated on? Like you said, I felt like they did everything that they could have done.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. It was definitely a popular movie.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to go back to the well, maybe it's going to be good. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. This came out today. I don't know if you saw this. It doesn't show much. It's a brief teaser. I didn't even know they were making this. And as big fans of this franchise, they're doing a Terminator the anime for Netflix.
What?
I didn't even know this was a thing, but apparently it's been in production for a while.
Oh,
and I guess due to the strikes, they had not said anything about it. Now they have, and it said in 2 days. I guess a full trailer is coming in a couple days. The trailer just says in 2 days you will know more or something like that. So kind of cool.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So we'll see how it works. Hopefully it's well done. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it.
That's pretty damn cool. And you know what? I'll talk about this. I think I talked to you about it already, but Nike released Kyle Reese's Michael Bean's shoes. The Terminator the Nike high tops that he steals out of the mall when he's hiding from the cops. They've got his replicas for kind of like a high price. It's like they want like $125 for those shoes.
Oh, yeah.
But you can save like $50-$60 if you get them on an off color. So I got them in all black, and I ordered them, and I put them in Klarna, so I'm paying it in 4 payments, so I don't have to hit it all at once. And I was like, I had to get it because they look comfortable. They look nice. I'm wearing my Converse. I've got like flat feet. I'm getting older, and maybe my arches don't, work that well. My feet are like jacked up. I don't know. But I'm going to try them out. Hopefully I get them in and I can wear them around and feel like I'm saving, Sarah Connor with them. Yeah. Come with me if you want to live.
But we will jump back to 1984 for a minute. And as we have our first trailer finally for Ghostbusters, the sequel to Afterlife with the subtitle of Frozen Empire. I'm not a huge fan of the subtitle. I know you like a little more than I did. I was like, yeah, it's okay. Feels kind of like like Disney Star Wars-ish. I don't know.
Why didn't they just call it Afterlife 2?
Well, because that's not cool.
Yeah, I guess it's too simple. Too,
Yeah, I mean, it looked interesting. I mean, it looks like we're gonna get. The one thing about Afterlife, you only had the original Ghostbusters show up towards the end of the film. It looks like they're going to be involved in this one a little bit more, than they were in the last one. Definitely going to have some Winston in there, and we see Bill Murray make a cameo in there. Dan Aykroyd's in the trailer too, so we can see all the originals in the trailer. As it looks like, it takes place in New York City, going back to where it all began back 40 years ago. And this movie comes out during the 40th anniversary year of the original Ghostbusters. As this will hit March, as of right now, pending no more delays. But delays should all be over, right?
Yeah, because it was supposed to come out in December. So now, and they pushed it back to March. And I forget what they pushed ahead to put it in March. It was something that they wanted to push back, so they just kind of like leapfrogged it. But I think at first it was going to be like Ghostbusters Firehouse.
Right, that was the working title.
Yeah, and so this might be better. Might be a better title. I don't know, but it's definitely looks kind of spooky. And some people are saying that they're expecting Oscar Venkman or Oscar Barrett. I guess the baby from that was Dana's baby from Ghostbusters 2, that he's one of the characters in the movie. Some people are trying to make speculations based on the trailer, who that extra guy character is. And but we'll see. We'll see if he's kind of the lights kind of shined upon his identity or not.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, hey, I'm always down for more Ghostbusters, so it should be fun to watch. And
yeah, man, always fun
when it comes out in March. And that was the other thing. Sony did delay Venom. Now that the structure, but it's only delayed a few months. It said come out in the summer. I think it's come out in October, November.
Maybe it is Venom.
Venom 3. So yeah, but so Ghostbusters Frozen Empire trailer out now, and watch that movie in March in theaters. My middle son is excited for it since he loves Ghostbusters. He's like, oh, and it comes out just after my birthday. I'm like, yep, that means you're not going to see it. No, just kidding.
Boo.
All right. Well, let's get into today's featured film, a movie that I know. We should have probably released this last week because the famous line from it. Remember the 5th of
The 5th of
November.
November.
But you know what? We're going against the trend. We're bucking the trend.
That's right.
And being different.
That's what Guy Fawkes would do.
That's right. But we are talking 2001, I believe. Was that when this came out? 2003, maybe? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, early 2000s.
It's directed by James McTeigue, and it's produced by the Wachowski. At the time, they were brothers before they became sisters, and that's never going to be weird saying that ever.
Yeah.
But it is based on the Alan Moore comic book from the late 80s, early 90s, and that is V for Vendetta. And man, basically, this movie. I mean, to summarize this film, it's they live in it's an alternate society in a world in which a totalitarian government of the British Parliament has basically implemented their own rules and kind of control the people in a sense. They have curfews. They're not only allowed to do certain things. They're kind of they can't. From what I got from it, they're kind of almost job placed. Like they can't really do what they want to do and things like that. From what I got was Evie's working for this TV station because she's told that she has to.
Yeah,
she's not really given a choice, and things are just kind of mundane. People just live their lives in this totalitarian government, but things get shooken up a little bit whenever on November 5th, a famous landmark gets destroyed, and Evey witnesses it because she's out after dark, even though she's not supposed to be. And it's done by a man who calls himself V, wearing a Guy Fawkes mask. And the prequel to the film, early on, we witness Guy Fawkes uprising against the government
trying to blow up Parliament.
Trying to blow up Parliament whenever he was alive, and he became a symbol of anti-government, resistance, anti-government for the people, and so V wears this Guy Fawkes mask and starts his own form of terrorism as he kills some members of important people of the government, the Parliament, and society, and he captures Evey, but saves her. And because he believes that she might want to work for his cause in a sense, even though he tries to get to know her, and he tells her his plan that a year from now, I'm going to destroy Parliament. And people, and a really important line in the film where people should not be afraid of their government. Government should be afraid of their people, which is the foundation in which a lot of countries were built on hundreds of years ago. And this movie, so essentially it flashes to a year later in which a lot has happened in that year. This is a complex movie to get into. But he does go through with his plan a year later, and with some help from Evey, after he convinces to her that she should no longer be afraid and to be on her side. After he saves her a second time from her people, he basically, I don't even want to say he tortures her, but he puts her under high distress.
Yes,
by kidnapping.
It makes her think she was, trapped or taken by Sutler's men. Yeah, Chancellor Sutler's men. And the crazy thing, I see a lot of British people make reviews about this film because obviously where it takes place.
Right.
And then the premise in which the British government in this film took power, and the fascist type of power that they took was based on a lie, because they fabricated a virus in St. Mary's, the St. Mary's University, to scare people into giving up their freedom. So they used a virus to try and give people the notion that they needed to give up their freedom for a little bit more security. Right. And instead implemented this like high surveillance, everything is monitored. You can't own a Quran, you can't own art. So I feel it's like, it's almost like equilibrium somewhat, in a sense, where you can't own certain things. And it's, some people talk about, they're like, well, man, this is touching close to home with the COVID stuff, right when COVID came out.
Any movie that features dystopian societies is going to have similarities.
Yeah.
But this movie,
out of each other's books.
Well, I think that's a real important thing about this film is that it does hit a little close to home to things we're dealing with in 2023 across the world. The landscape of the world has changed in 20 years since this movie came out. And, but
they did
in some
they did kind of some people, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard someone say that The Wachowskis were sort of vocal during the Patriot Act, and that was some of the inspiration to some of this stuff, because there is like surveillance, like audio surveillance and stuff like that, and narrative spinning. The government controls all the media and says, okay, how are we going to spin this? Basically. So I don't know if that's true, because it's like
maybe it's hard to say. I mean, this
know.
is adapted from a comic book, so how much
Alan Moore? Well, he kind of I guess he didn't like this film.
Well, he doesn't like anything that's made on his stuff. I mean,
it's like everyone's like, well, why'd you sell it? Why'd you sell it if you didn't want someone else to do something with it? But yeah, I guess he didn't really agree with how they did it.
Go down the list of things he did: Watchmen, From Hell, V for Vendetta. Some of his Swamp Thing stuff was loosely adapted in the DC series. Yeah. The guy doesn't like anything that's made that he had anything to do with. I mean, that's just how he is.
He's never happy. Never happy.
But that said, though, this film, though, out of all the Alan Moore adaptations, I think that have been done, this might be the best. I mean, this is a really solid film, really well done. Hugo Weaving plays V. Of course, Natalie Portman plays Evey, and they're both really good in the film. Yes. Hugo does a tremendous job displaying.
For someone who has no face in the film, right. A mask is covering his face. He shows so much emotion.
Right. And he had to re-record his lines because they couldn't hear him through the mask. It was the only people could hear him were the people that were really acting in front of him. So they had to re-record his lines. So he had to do all this stuff twice and convey that emotion through his voice, and recording a second time also while doing it on set. And he's really good in the movie. Natalie Portman is excellent in the film. She's really good.
Yes.
Actually, this film across the board is well acted. I started thinking about this. It's got a really good cast. With John Hurt, who's in it. He's fantastic.
As Sutler,
Parliament leaders.
Yeah.
Everyone's good in the movie.
The Chancellor. Yeah. And what's funny is he's from 1984. A movie about how the government controls all the narratives of society and everything, and the Ministry of Truth and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And you have kind of like this Ministry of Truth there. So I think it's just perfect casting having Sutler there,
The movie plays, and I've never read the comic, which is amazing because I've read a lot of comics and I've never read it, but I'm sure the comic's very similar. This is where I read it. It's very
for
similar.
The most part. Yeah.
It plays on the popularity of fears of how your government lies to you and how it treats you. And V is that voice against all of that, telling people that, it's okay to fight back against your government. You don't have to listen to everything they say. You don't have to do everything they say. And in some ways, this is one of those movies where you, even though V is portrayed through the eyes of the people or the government, that is, as a terrorist, you find yourself on his side 100%.
Oh,
He's also the hero of the story because you believe in what he's doing. And I think when Alan Moore probably wrote this book and everything, being British himself, he probably took a lot of these sensibilities and ideas from the way he felt growing up. How's my government treating me? How are they lying to me? And it's right there on the screen too. It's something we've all felt. And you don't have to be British to understand that in this movie. You can be of any nationality in any government to feel like, man, are they always telling me the truth?
Exactly. No one's, government's batting 1,000, you got something's, there's some, drops here and there, they're throwing interceptions and probably not telling you about it, but to where they go with this, it's, and in the comics, Alan Moore says V is more of an anarchist than a freedom fighter. And here he's more of a freedom fighter. And Evey in the comic book, she's a streetwalker, and she's actually out after dark because she's hoeing around. She's not, she wasn't getting, dressed up so she could go to that, TV host's house, like she is in the film, and working for the television station. So that
I do like that one outfit she had on.
Hey, yeah, right at the beginning. It wasn't much of one, but it was definitely something she had on. But she was like 19 or 20 when she did this film.
She had to be a little older than that.
I don't know,
This
man.
was
She
after
looked,
episode 1.
no, whenever she had to go to the priest's quarters or whatever, that little outfit she had to wear, it's pretty cutesy. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cutesy. But yeah,
This is 2005, so she was like 24 already.
her background story is pretty much tit for tat the same in the comic book. Her parents were freedom fighters. They did, where they were activists against the government, and the government did shut them down and basically, lock them away, put black bags over their heads, lock them in solitary confinement, stuff like that. So they got a lot of stuff right. And some people are critical about this film, like with the masks, that he has for all the innocent people working in the, theater or in the TV station whenever it's rated. Mm-hmm. And they're like, where's the real V? There's all these people in V masks. So like, wouldn't someone notice if someone ordered all these Guy Fawkes masks? And they're like, well, who's ordering all these? Let's backtrace it.
I thought that, but I also thought that that was my thought was like, okay, he did this over several years. I mean, V didn't plan this over a matter of a few days or months. This is probably something he did for years. He may not. You got to think he may not. This is one of those movies where this is its own world. Who says there's any kind of Amazon or shipping? He might have been buying these little by little on his own.
Exactly.
Hell, in that thing he had out there, he could have made them himself.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how V went about this over the years.
You never know.
Kind of what I gathered from that. He had time to build this plan.
Requires you to be a true believer.
It's just like why did he trust Evey? I have to think maybe he was watching her a little bit before this that he knew.
Well, some people try and say that he was her father.
Yeah.
Or her brother. That's like the speculation. Alan Moore denies that, says no, that's not him. He's unknown. And that, what she says at the end, which really kind of like ties it together, is like he's everybody. He's me, he's you, mm-hmm. He's my father, he's my mother, he's my brother.
Right.
He's all of us. And so, that's a pretty good line. But yeah, man, who knows who he is.
Right.
And it's cool that it's a mystery because you'll just never know. And it keeps this conversation going. Man, what if he is, who knows?
One thing I really like about this movie too, is I like movies that, are able to you basically have essentially two main characters in this film, V and Evey, and their mm-hmm. stories. You get to learn a lot about both of them through both their tellings of their stories and each other. And it comes together and works so well. You understand V's point of view. You also understand Evey's point of view, mm-hmm. and you understand why she would help him at the end and why he was willing to help her. Because you think like, why would he choose her? And then why would she choose to help him after what he did to her? And the fact is that he builds trust with her. He tells her you can walk away, but she comes back. He asks her, if I give you one thing, you come back before the 5th of November so I can see you one last time. Mm-hmm. And she does, and he ends up, and she ends up helping him finish what he started. And even Stephen Ray, who plays the cop, even by the end of the film, the inspector, he even realizes that V is right.
Well, you can tell at the beginning he doesn't.
It goes against
his fan of the Chancellor.
And he still goes against his moral sensibilities a little bit, but he realizes he comes around at the end, like, this is the right thing to do. And he allows her to let the train go and let Parliament be blown up.
And they let that other people, highly prolific position people are having discussed and not really supporting the Chancellor with the that TV host that Evey is talking to, and he creates that that sitcom or that hilarious bit with the Chancellor Sutler, and that's pretty damn funny. Where he's like walking around, oh look, it's the terrorist, and then they're like playing that
circus music or whatever.
Yeah, circus music. Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then he's like, whoa, they're not going to do anything. And then they like just fuck him up and beat the shit out of him, shove stuff up his butt and then put a bag over his head and execute him. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, they're just going to have me do some charity work. Like, no,
which was interesting is that the parallels of him getting captured paralleled what happened to Evie's parents,
yeah, she had to hide under the bed just like one of her parents, and had to watch it happen.
But just, I saw this movie. I saw this in theaters when it came out. Then I think I watched it one other time later, and I hadn't watched it in, probably 20 years or almost 20 years since it came out. And I just forgot just how remarkably well done this movie is. I mean, it's, we talk about the best Marvel and DC films sometimes, and this is probably amongst the best DC films. It doesn't get enough credit, It
really doesn't.
It's really well done, well acted. It tells a really engaging story. I also think that because it is a fake government, a fake world, that you can enjoy this a little bit more, even though it plays on the fears of government and things like that. It's not quite as frightening as watching like a real war movie, if that makes sense, because we still know it's all pretend in this film. Where sometimes you watch a movie that deals with real world aspects or real world historical things, it gets a little scarier, if that makes sense.
Because you're like, oh, this actually happened. You know?
Even though Guy Fawkes was a real person, there is some historical facts in this film. It's still based overall on a what if scenario, if the government became what they did in this film. But I just really enjoyed rewatching it this week. The movie looks sharp as ever in high definition on Max. Is where I watched it, and I was like, this is a really good looking film. It's really well shot. Strangely, James McTeigue has not had a huge directing career since this movie. He's done a couple of things, but nothing as good as this film. But he's definitely got an eye for talent, but also makes you wonder how much the Wachowskis had to do with the directing of this film as well.
A lot of people say, hey, even though they were making the Matrix films, the last Matrix films that year, did they have more a hand in this than they let on? Yeah,
because it feels more like one of their movies than it does a James McTeigue film. That's for sure.
For sure. Yeah,
I would agree with that. But definitely a good movie. If you've never watched V for Vendetta, it's definitely worth the watch. Great performances by all involved in it. Hugo Weaving's phenomenal in The Mask. And he's one of those guys that just watching him in The Matrix and the Lord of the Rings films and this, like, I always felt like, man, not that he didn't have a big career, but like always felt like this guy should have gotten some primo, roles, but he somehow ended up in two of the most popular trilogies of all time, with Lord of the Rings and The Matrix.
Yeah. That's something.
We need Hugo to show up in Star Wars, man.
Dude, he would be a good Star Wars character.
He would be a badass Sith Lord.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because I'm thinking same thing, Sith. Yeah. I don't think he'd be a good Jedi. I mean, he could do it. Yeah. But I think he's such a good bad guy, or that frenemy type.
Maybe he could take over as Balin Skull.
Oh, yeah.
Hugo could do it.
Hugo could do it, man. He really could.
But
and what's crazy is I don't know the actor's name, but I know you've seen A Knight's Tale, and the Prince of Wales, who ends up dubbing Heath Ledger's character a knight, and making him legit at the end. He was supposed to be V. He started out with it, and then he stopped. So Hugo, started a ways in, and then that's another reason why he had to dub over as well. Yeah. He had to dub over some of that, but yeah, some of this footage is him and that guy in the suit, which is interesting. But I'm glad we got Hugo, man. I'm glad we got Hugo.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You said something about a nice show. Maybe think something else, and now I've completely forgot what that thought was. It doesn't really matter, I guess. But V for Vendetta, man, good movie. Next week on the show, we are going to bring. Next week will be This Month in Pop Culture History. That'll be next week. So if anyone that was maybe expecting it this week, sorry, it'll be next week.
Next week, buddy. Yeah.
But next week we've got a good movie coming. Man, there's a new movie come out in theaters in a couple weeks, and a new Toho production Japanese version of Godzilla -1, which is making a shit ton of money in Japan where it just released. One of the biggest openings ever for a Japanese film. Rave reviews. People are saying it's one of the best Godzilla films ever made, which is considering there's 37 films. That's a lot. And that is Godzilla -1, which hits theaters stateside December 1st. I'm definitely going to go see this with my boys that Saturday, probably at some point, the second when it comes out. And so looking forward to that. So before then, we're going to backtrack to just a few years to 2014, whenever Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures got the rights to reboot the Godzilla franchise for American audiences with director Gareth Edwards. No, was it Edwards or Evans? Did I get the wrong?
Evans.
Evans. Rogue One, Gareth. Edwards is the Raid films, right?
Yeah.
Damn it, Matt! You're gonna make me look this up on IMDb. We cannot give people false information.
I know, right?
We must tell them the truth.
We can't just shoot from the hip like the Duke, the Great Duke.
And it is, Gareth Edwards. I was right the first time.
Oh, okay.
Gareth Evans is the Raid guys. Gareth Edwards is the Godzilla guy.
Yeah,
we're going to talk Gareth.
Some of these
Edwards.
Guys need to get a different name. Get a a nice code name.
So we're going to talk 2014's Godzilla.
I want to talk to somebody in charge. You are not fooling anybody when you say that what happened was a natural disaster. You're lying. It was not an earthquake. It wasn't a typhoon. Because what's really happening is that you're hiding something out there. And it is going to send us back to the Stone Age. God help us all.
In 1954, we awakened something.
Well, there's nuclear tests in the Pacific. Not tests.
They were trying to kill it.
You have no idea what's coming.
Can you kill it?
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control. And not the other way around.
And this movie is, I like it. Don't love it, but I like it. It's a good start. I like the sequel, King of Monsters, a little bit more, just because I'll get to that more next week. Well, let's just put it this way: it takes an hour in the new Godzilla before we get any action, and then we get his foot.
Yes.
And then we have to wait about 15 minutes before we get more action. So that's probably, and I know you have to build story, blah, 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 but goddamn, I'm watching a Godzilla movie. Let me see him fuck some shit up,
Yeah. It's like 1920s porn. Okay. They show you an ankle and they expect you to get excited.
That's right. So that and more next week, 1920s porn, when we discuss 2014's Godzilla, just a couple weeks before Godzilla -1 hits American theaters on next week's show. But until then, we appreciate you for listening. This the rebelradiopodcast.com is where you can find all your Rebel Radio needs, as always. And just continue to be safe out there. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
Until next time, remember, as always, just go there and do it.